the aim of the conference and why include the Departments of Higher Education and Training? Is this something that we're trying to work into to guide school and university leavers and college leavers into cooperatives?
Well, the conference's aim is actually to ensure that we establish vibrant and sustainable cooperatives. And the idea is to have a much more solution-orientated approach for cooperative development in the country. The reason why we have the Department of Higher Education and Training is that it deals with matters relating to skills development. And in the country we have seen majority of our cooperatives are unable to make it within the mainstream economy precisely because of lack of skills. And we think that this department is taking an appropriate route in terms of working with the cooperative movement, particularly SANACO, to ensure that we provide the necessary skills for cooperatives in the country so that they can engage in the economy.
Any idea of how many cooperatives there are in the country and which sectors they're really focused on?
We have about currently around 32,000 cooperatives registered in the country. Majority of them are in the agricultural sector. And I think this is informed by the historical background of cooperatives in the country and the focus having been the agricultural sector. And we are seeing more cooperatives beginning to enter into different sectors of the economy. We've seen cooperatives now recently in the mining sector, in the tourism sector, in the catering sector, which is the service sector. So we are seeing cooperatives particularly, and I think it's informed by the fact that government decided to shift cooperative responsibility to the Department of Trade and Industry. Hence, we have the involvement of that department in this particular conference.
Are we actually seeing growth in the number of cooperatives at this point?
We're definitely seeing growth in the number of cooperatives. The worrying factor, though, is that we don't see growth in terms of the successful rate of cooperatives in the country. And hence, we have this particular conference to begin to look into what could be the approaches that we need to utilize in ensuring that we see growth in terms of cooperatives contributing in the economy of the country.
Do they see some of the same pitfalls that small businesses do in the economy? Because we know that the majority of small businesses probably will fail. Are you seeing the same with cooperatives?
We don't see majority of cooperatives failing if the right approach is being embarked on. And I think that's what basically this conference is aimed to do, to ensure that we find a solution to those particular problems. I think we can use the SMMEs that have collapsed as an experience or a lesson so that we can build on and make sure that we don't commit the same mistakes, particularly as cooperatives. The international experience indicates best that it is cooperative that tends to do well, and we have even seen that during the global economic crisis, that there's no cooperative that has actually suffered during that particular period. In fact, cooperatives have managed to resist the global economic crisis that we have seen recently.
How have they done that? Is it due to support out there, and what sort of support are they getting?
Not basically because also of because there are support that they are receiving, but it's purely because it is based on trust, it is based on membership driven, and members tend to ensure that they prevent themselves from entering into difficult circumstances unnecessarily. And I think it is because of the people, because of the members of those cooperatives.
How's it being guided by government policy and by the Cooperatives Act? What sort of support did they give, and what sort of guidance into the growth of cooperatives?
Well, we have recently been engaged as SANACO, as a representative body of cooperatives, in the amendment of the current Cooperative Act. But previously, we have also informed the current National Cooperative Strategy. And part of the solutions we have provided into those particular specific documentations which are policy-driven is the issue around a need to establish a cooperative academy. Now, the Minister of Higher Education pronounced yesterday to us that that particular institution will be established to provide skills that is required for cooperative, but it would be driven by cooperatives themselves at the end. We will be seeing a National Cooperative Development Agency being established by the Department of Trade and Industry together with the cooperative movement. And it also has to be focusing on two things: non-financial support and financial support to cooperatives. And this institution would enable us to make sure that we have a well-coordinated support for cooperative, as opposed to currently where we have a number of people or departments providing support to cooperatives, which is not well coordinated. And we have put together those institutions to provide the support to cooperatives.
So do you see this formulating and regulating the sector a little bit better, and also giving a whole formality to it?
In the main, I think regulations for cooperatives has been very well in our country. The issue has been an implementation. And I think we're taking a step forward in ensuring that we put in place mechanisms to realize what policy is basically giving to us. And those institutions will serve part of that particular responsibility. So the policy environment in the country has been very, very good and enabling for cooperative development, but the issue has been the implementation part of it.
How about employment? Because we know the government has a big focus on creating jobs at this point, wants to create about 5 million jobs over the next 10 years. Is this one of the avenues we could use to help with job creation?
Most definitely. If you look at the international experience, you would find that cooperatives don't only contribute to the economy, but they also contribute to the economy through creation of employment opportunities. And we're talking sustainable employment opportunities in this instance. And I think we will not leave the opportunity to assist government in responding to the needs of society in the country by creating more employment from cooperatives going forward.
And where are we going to see this growth? You talked about the agricultural sector really historically being the main source of cooperatives. How about other sectors like the financial sector? And are we looking at cooperatives mostly based in rural areas, or are we seeing more growth in urban areas as well?
We're looking at cooperatives growth both in urban and rural areas. Now, if you look at service cooperatives, talking financial cooperatives in your term, we tend to ensure that those are the easiest to actually establish, but they can basically support the establishment of what we refer to as worker cooperatives, which could basically respond to the current challenges that the country faces. And one of our focus is that we must definitely ensure that in the country we have a formidable cooperative bank like any other countries that we have seen in the world, so that we are able to provide support to cooperatives. The current financial institutions are unable to provide the support required to cooperatives because of red tapes and a number of issues so they don't trust our members. So we intend creating a bank for ourselves that would be dependent and driven by those particular members. And in that way, we believe we'll be able to contribute to the economy.